Now we will study about the tracts of the spinal cord. First, about the definition of a tract. The tract of a spinal cord, it is a bundle of nerve fibers, or by the nerve fibers we mean the axons of the neurons. So tract, it is a bundle of nerve fibers which are having the same origin, that is the cell bodies of these axons, they will lie at a particular place in the brain or the spinal cord. And these axons, they will follow the same course and they will have the same area of destination or termination, and all the axons in a tract, they will perform the similar function. This definition can be better understood by looking at this line diagram, in which a simple pathway of the corticospinal tracts, a descending tract of the spinal cord, has been shown. So here we have drawn this cerebrum. On its superolateral side of the cerebrum, a motor area is located, and all the neurons in this motor area, they are the giant pyramidal cells of Bats. So the corticospinal tract, it will have the axons of these giant pyramidal cells. So all the axons, they will take origin from this motor area of the cerebrum, from the pyramidal cells, and all these axons, they will follow a similar course to the internal capsule, midbrain, pons, and medulla. And all these axons of the corticospinal tract, they will terminate in a similar area in the spinal cord. And these axons in the corticospinal tract, they will perform a similar function of controlling the voluntary skilled movement. So now this definition is clear, that a tract will be a bundle of axons in the central nervous system which are having the same origin. That means they will all take origin from the cell bodies of the neurons which are located in a specific area in the brain or in the spinal cord. They will follow the same course and they will have a similar area of termination, and they will perform all the axons, they will perform the similar functions in a tract. Now, name of the tract will indicate the origin and termination of its fibers. That means when we are saying corticospinal tract, that means all the axons, they will take origin from the cerebral cortex, and all the axons, they will terminate in the spinal cord. So name corticospinal tract. And when we say spinothalamic tract, that means the all the axons, they will take origin from the cell bodies of the neurons in the spinal cord, and all these axons, they will terminate in the thalamus. So name spinothalamic tract or corticospinal tract, the name indicating the origin and the termination of the fibers of a tract. Now in spinal cord, it is carrying the sensory information towards the brain, and also it is carrying the information back from the brain. So this, in the spinal cord, there will be the axons which will carry the information from the receptors up to the central nervous system. And these axons, they will form the ascending tracts, and since they are carrying the sensory information towards the brain, so these are also named as the sensory or the ascending tracts of the spinal cord. So first type of the tract in the spinal cord, they are the ascending tracts which will carry the information towards the brain or the central nervous system. Now all this information will be integrated, processed, and modulated in the brain, and now message will reach back to the effector organ, and this message will be carried in the spinal cord in the descending tracts. And these descending tracts, since they are carrying the motor information, so they are also named as the motor or the descending tract. So in the spinal cords, we will study about the two tracts. One is the sensory or ascending tracts. They will start from the receptor neurons and reach up to the central nervous system. Second are the descending or the motor tracts, which will start from the central nervous system and they will reach up to the effector organ. Now first about the sensory or the ascending tracts of the spinal cord. Now ascending tracts, since they are carrying the information from the soma or body parts or viscera to the central nervous system, and these ascending tracts, they will carry this information from the receptors up to the central nervous system by three set of neurons. And these three set of neurons, they are a first order, a second order, and a third order neuron. By these words, first, second, and third order, we means the first order neurons of the ascending tracts, they will carry all the sensory information from the receptors to the spinal cord. So here we can see the neuron which has been numbered as the number 1, which is carrying all the information from the receptors to the spinal cord. Now the cell bodies of these second order neurons, they are located in the spinal cord, and axons of these second order neurons, they will cross over to the opposite side and they will carry all the sensory information to the thalamus, where the cell bodies of the third order neuron, they are located. So first order neuron taking the information towards the spinal cord, and cell bodies of the second order neurons, they are located in the dorsal horns of the spinal cord, and axons of these second order neurons, they cross to opposite side and they reach up to the thalamus. And in the thalamus we are having the cell bodies of the third order neurons, and axons of these third order neurons, they will carry all the sensory information to the cerebral cortex. So in the ascending tract, we will study these three neurons, a first, second, and a third order neuron. Now a little bit detail about these three neurons. The first order neurons in the spinal cord, they are located in the dorsal root ganglia. So here we can see the dorsal root ganglion where the pseudo-unipolar neurons, they are present. These pseudo-unipolar neurons, they are having a peripheral process which will pass towards the receptors, and these are having a second process, that is the central process, which is passing towards the spinal cord, and this central process will form the dorsal nerve root of the spinal cord. So this pseudo-unipolar neurons, they are the first order neurons of the ascending pathway, and these neurons, they will by their central processes, they will carry the sensory information to the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. And the second order neurons, so here in this diagram we can again see this pseudo unipolar neuron with its central processes passing towards the spinal cord. Now the cell bodies of the second order neurons, they are located in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, and axons of these second order neurons, they will start from here, they cross over to the opposite side, and now they will ascend up to the thalamus, to the ventral posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. So we have studied about a first order neuron reaching up to the spinal cord, and from here the and where it will relay, and cell bodies of the second order neurons, they are located in the spinal cord, and their axons, they will carry this information to the thalamus. Now all the cell bodies of second order neurons, they are not always located in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. In some tracts, the cell bodies of the second order neurons, they are located in the medulla. So here the axons of these first order neurons, they will travel up to the medulla, and then they will relay in the at the second order neurons in the medulla. So the two types of terminations, they are possible for these first order neurons. So these central processes of the first order neurons, they will either relay in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, or the central processes of these first order neurons, they may travel up to the medulla, and where they will relay at the second order neurons which are located. And but the axons of the second order neurons, whether they are in the spinal cord or whether they are in the medulla, they will always cross over to the opposite side. So the sensory information will be always carried from the opposite side of the body, and these second order neurons, they will always ascend up to the thalamus, and where the cell bodies of the third order neurons they are located, and the axons of these third order neurons they will carry all the informations to the sensory areas of the cerebral cortex. So this is the pathway of a ascending tract which will first have the first order neuron located in the dorsal root ganglia. The second order neuron, it may be located in the dorsal horn or it may be located in the medulla of the brain. But these axons of these second order neurons, they will always cross to opposite side, and third order neurons, they are always located in the thalamus. And the second order neurons, they will always ascend up to the thalamus. So information through the second order neuron, it will reach to the thalamus. And these second order neurons, they will relay over the third order neuron cell bodies located in the thalamus. So these are the three order neurons in the ascending pathway, a first, second, and a third order. Now we will study about the major ascending tracts in the spinal cord. Now, three major pathways they are present in the spinal cord, which are carrying the all sensory information towards the brain. They are first pathway which is located in the posterior white column of the spinal cord. They are the fasciculus gracilis medially and fasciculus cuneatus laterally. So these, since they are located in the posterior white column, so they are also known as the posterior column pathways. The second major pathway, it is the spinothalamic pathway. In the spinothalamic pathway, we have two tracts, a laterally located the lateral spinothalamic tract and an anteriorly located anterior spinothalamic tracts. So the lateral, which is located in the lateral white column, and anterior is located in the anterior white column. So two spinothalamic pathways. The third major pathway, they are the spinocerebellar tracts which are located in the lateral white column. There are two tracts in this spinocerebellar pathway. One is the anterior or ventral spinocerebellar and another is the dorsal or posterior spinocerebellar tracts. So these are the three major pathways: fasciculus gracilis, fasciculus cuneatus in posterior column, in lateral column anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tracts, and in the spinothalamic tract a lateral and a anterior spinothalamic tract. And the sensory information which is carried by these tracts, they are the posterior column tracts. They will carry the information of conscious proprioceptive sense, discriminative touch, and vibratory sense. The lateral and anterior spinothalamic tracts, they will carry the lateral one, they are carrying the information of pain and temperature, while anterior spinothalamic tracts, they will carry the information of fluid, touch, and pressure. Both these spinothalamic tracts and posterior column tracts, they will carry the information from opposite side of the body. While the third major pathway, which is the spinocerebellar tracts, which are carrying the unconscious proprioceptive information, but these tracts, they will carry the information to the same side of the cerebellum. So this is the difference in these three major tracts. The two major posterior white column and spinothalamics, they will relay the information from opposite half, while the spinocerebellar tracts, they will carry the information to the same side of the cerebellum. Now we will study in detail about these tracts. First, about the late spinothalamic tract, and in the spinothalamic tract, we will first study the lateral spinothalamic tract. The lateral spinothalamic tracts, they carry the pain and temperature sensations from the opposite half of the body. These tracts, they will carry in pain and temperature sensation from whole of the opposite half except for the head and neck region, where these two sensations, they are carried by the trigeminal nerve. So like the all ascending tracts, this tract will also have a first order, a second order, and a third order neuron. The first order neurons of these tracts, they will always lie in the pseudo-unipolar neurons in the dorsal root ganglia. The central processes of these first order neuron, they will travel towards the spinal cord, where they will relay in the substantia gelatinosa of the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. So the first order neuron, it has relayed in the dorsal horn in the substantia gelatinosa. And the second order neurons which are located in the substantia gelatinosa, the axons of these second order neurons, they will travel to the opposite side, and these second order neurons, they will run anterior to the central canal of the spinal cord in the anterior gray commissure, and then they will travel over to the opposite side to reach the thalamus where the third order neurons they are located. So if we see in an enlarged view, we can see the first order neuron, which is the central process of pseudounipolar ganglions, and which has relayed in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord in substantia gelatinosa, where second order neurons they are located. And we can see in the green color the axons of the second order neurons which have traveled to the opposite side by traveling in front of the central canal of the spinal cord, and these second order neurons they are now ascending upward in the lateral white column as the lateral spinothalamic tract. And now these lateral spinothalamic tracts, they have ascended up to the thalamus, and they will relay here, and here the third order neurons, cell bodies of third order neurons, they are present. And now the axons of these third order neurons, they will travel to the sensory areas of the cerebral cortex, area number 3, 1 and 2. So this is the pathway of the lateral spinothalamic tract, where the first order neuron, it is pseudo-unipolar neuron of dorsal root ganglia. Second order neurons, they are in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, and the axons of the second order neurons, they have crossed to opposite side, and they are traveling in the lateral white column as lateral spinothalamic tract, and these have relayed in the thalamus in where the third order neurons they are located, and axons of the third order neuron now they will carry this sensory information to the cerebral cortex. So this was about the lateral spinothalamic tract. The anterior spinothalamic tract, it is also having a similar pathway to the lateral one. The first order neurons they are present, they are the pseudo unipolar neurons of the dorsal root ganglia, and central processes of these, which are shown in the red color, they are passing towards the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, where they will relay the second order neuron of the anterior spinothalamic tract. They are located in the nucleus proprius in the dorsal horn. And now the axons of the second order neuron from this dorsal horn, they will take a similar pathway to the lateral tracts. They will cross over to opposite side in front of the anterior, in front of central canal, and they will now ascend in the anterior white column of the spinal cord, and they will ascend up to the thalamus, and where the third order neurons they are located, and these will relay in the thalamus. Now the third order neuron from the thalamus will reach up to the sensory area of the cerebral cortex. So the anterior spinothalamic and the lateral spinothalamic, they are having a similar pathway, but the anterior spinothalamic tract, it carries the sensory information of crude touch and pressure from the opposite half of the body. By the word crude touch, we means that the person cannot accurately pinpoint, localize the area of the body touched. These tracts, they also carry the sensations of itching and tickling, both sensations from the opposite half of the body. So this is the difference in the action of the lateral and the anterior spinothalamic tracts. The lateral spinothalamic tracts, they are carrying the sensory information of pain and temperature from the opposite half of the body, but the anterior spinothalamic tracts, they are carrying the information of crude touch and pressure from the opposite half of the body. Some important facts which we must remember about these two tracts is that the central processes of the first order neurons in these tracts, it may not relay in the same segment of the spinal cord, but these central processes, they may ascend up to one or two segments, and then they relay in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. So in this diagram, we can see the
pseudo-unipolar neurons of a T2 level segment, and the central processes of these neurons, they have not relayed in the spinal cord here, but they have ascended up to the C8 segment of the spinal cord, and then they are relaying in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. And then from here the second order axons of the second order neurons, they will start. And these ascending processes of these ascending fibers of the central processes, they will form a dorsolateral tract of Lisor, and this tract will be located at the tip of the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. So this dorsolateral tract, it is formed by the ascending fibers of the central processes of these pseudo-unipolar neurons, which ascend for 1 to 2 segments, and then they relay in the dorsal horns of the spinal cord. The, the central processes of the fibers which are carrying the pain and the temperature sensations, they ascend for only 1 to 2 segments, but the fibers of the anterior spinothalamic tract, they may ascend for 8 to 10 segments, and then they relay in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. The clinical importance of this dorsolateral tract of Lisor is that, for example, if a lesion in the spinal cord occur at the C8 level, the pain and temperature sensations now, they will not be lost at the C8 level, but the pain and temperature sensations, they will be lost at the T2 segment of the spinal cord, because these were actually the central processes of the unipolar neurons at the T2 segment. So the pain and temperature sensations, they are not lost at the site of lesion, but they will be lost at about 1 to 2 segments below the level of the lesion. The second fact which we must remember about these tracts is the localization of the fibers, that in the lateral spinothalamic tract, if we look at this diagram, the fibers from the cervical region, they will be located medial most in the tract, while the fibers from the sacral region, they are located lateral most in the lateral spinothalamic tract. So this is the localization of the fibers from the different parts of the body, where cervical fibers, they are medial most, and sacral fibers, they are lateral most. Moreover, the fibers which are carrying the pain sensations, they will be located laterally as compared to the temperature fibers, which will be located medially in the lateral spinothalamic tract. And the pressure sensations, they are located medial most in these tracts. So the two facts which we have studied about these tracts is that one is the formation of dorsolateral tract of Lisor in the at the tip of the dorsal horn, which is formed by the ascending fibers of the central processes of the pseudo-unipolar neurons. Second is the localization of the fibers of from different parts of the body. Now, how can we test the sensations of touch, temperature, and pressure in a person? So here in these two pictures, we can see the testing of pain and temperature sensations which are carried by the lateral spinothalamic tracts. So before testing any sensation in a patient, we must explain the full procedure to the patient first, and we should always keep his eyes closed during the procedure. The pain sensation can be tested in a person by touching him with a disposable neurotip pin or an unfolded paper clip. But we should never use a sharp hypodermic needle. And we should always do this procedure. We should always sterilize the tip of the pin or the paper clip before doing the procedure. The temperature sensation in a person can be tested by taking two test tubes which are filled with hot and cold water. So this is the testing of lateral spinothalamic tract, which is carrying the pain and temperature sensation. The anterior spinothalamic tract can be tested in a person. The anterior tracts, they are carrying the sensations of crude touch and pressure. So crude touch can be tested by touching the patient with a cotton wool. We should always keep the eyes closed, so that in a crude touch, the patient cannot accurately localize the area of the body touched. and the pressure sensation can be tested by touching the patient with an blunt object. So this is how we test the lateral and anterior spinothalamic tract in a person. The anterior tracts, they are carrying the sensation of crude touch and pressure, while the lateral tracts, they are carrying the sensation of pain and temperature. Now, some applied anatomy related to these tracts is that, as we can see in this diagram, the lateral spinothalamic tracts, the second order neurons of these tracts, they will, when they cross over to the opposite side, they will pass through this anterior gray commissure of the spinal cord. So at this level, anterior gray commissure, there will be present fibers from the both sides of the body. So if a lesion occur at this level in the spinal cord, it will result in loss of pain and temperature sensation from both halves of the body, because the lateral spinothalamic tracts of both sides, they are present in front of this central canal. They are crossing at this level. And this type of loss of sensation, it can happen in a disease that is known as the syringomyelia. This is a degenerative type of disease where the fluid-filled cavities are formed around the central canal, and this results in loss of the spinothalamic tract fibers from the both the side. So patient will experience the loss of pain and temperature, and this usually happen in the upper half of the body. So we say shawl-like distribution of sensory loss. But other sensations like which are carried by the posterior column tracts, they will be preserved in these patients. So there is a dissociated sensory loss, and in this disease is named as syringomyelia, and there will be a bilateral loss of pain and temperature because of bilateral destruction of the lateral spinothalamic tracts. This is about the two tracts, the lateral and the anterior spinothalamic tracts, which are located in the lateral and the anterior white column of the spinal cord. The lateral spinothalamic tracts, they are carrying the sensory information of pain and temperature, while the anterior spinothalamic tracts, they are carrying the sensory information of crude touch and pressure from the opposite half of the body to the sensory areas of the cerebral cortex. The next tracts which we are studying, they are the posterior column tracts. Now these tracts, they are named as the posterior column or dorsal column tracts, as they are located in the posterior column of the white matter of the spinal cord. There are two tracts in this group. The medial one is the fasciculus gausalis, and the lateral one, it is the fasciculus cuneatus. Now, difference in the function of these two tracts is that fasciculus gausalis, it contains the sensory fibers from the lower half of the body. That is, it will carry the fibers from the lower thoracic, lumbar, and the sacral regions of the body. While the fasciculus cuneatus, it carries the sensory fibers from the upper half of the body, that is from the upper thoracic and the cervical levels. And fasciculus cuneatus, it will appear at the T6 segment of the spinal cord. So at this T6 segment, we can see both the fasciculus gausalis and the fasciculus cuneatus, and these two tracts, they will be separated here by the faint posterior intermediate septum. So two tracts, the fasciculus gausalis and the fasciculus cuneatus. The fasciculus cuneatus, which is lateral in position, and it is carrying the sensory fibers from the upper half of the body. Both the tracts, they are carrying the similar impulses, and both are carrying the sensory information related to fine touch, two-point discrimination, conscious proprioception, tactile localization, vibration, and stereognosis. We will study about these sensations in detail in the next slide. First, about the pathway of the posterior column tracts. Pathway of the dorsal column tracts, like other ascending tract, it also consists of three order neurons, a first order, second order, and a third order neuron. But the second order neurons of these tracts, they are located in the medulla, and these second order neurons, they are named as the nucleus gausalis and the nucleus cuneatus, which are present in the mid level of the medulla. Now the pathway of these tracts, The first order neurons of these pathway, they are also located in the dorsal root ganglia of the spinal cord. Now the central processes of the unipolar neurons of these dorsal root ganglia, they will travel toward the spinal cord as we see in this red color, and these central processes, they will not relay in the spinal cord, but they will ascend in the posterior white column of the spinal cord as we see in this enlarged view. So these central processes, they have not relayed in the spinal cord, but they have ascended in the posterior white column of the spinal cord as the posterior column tract, which can be either fasciculus dorsalis or fasciculus cuneatus. Now these posterior column tracts or the central processes, they will ascend up to the medulla, where these first order neuron fibers, they will relay in either nucleus dorsalis or the nucleus cuneatus, from where the second order neuron fibers will start. So this is the first order neuron fibers, which are the central processes of the unipolar neurons. They have traveled in the posterior white column and they have ascended up to the medulla without relaying anywhere between. So now they have ascended to the medulla and they will relay here, and the second order neurons, they will start from these nucleus dorsalis and the nucleus cuneatus. Now we can see the axons of the second order neurons, which are shown in the green color, and they are crossing over to the opposite side. The fasciculus dorsalis, it will relay in the nucleus dorsalis, while the fasciculus cuneatus, it will relay in the nucleus cuneatus. Now fibers, second order neuron fibers from both the nuclei, they will cross over to opposite side and they will ascend up to the thalamus, and where they will relay. And now the third order neurons, which are located in the thalamus, will carry these informations to the sensory areas of the cerebral cortex. So this is the pathway of the dorsal column tracts, which is having a first order neuron which is not relaying in the spinal cord, but the axons of the first order neurons, they are traveling up to the medulla, relaying in the nucleus dorsalis and nucleus cuneatus. Now the axons from these second order neurons, they are crossing over to opposite side and reaching up to the thalamus, and where they relay. And now the axons of the third order neurons, they will start and they will reach up to the sensory area of the cerebral cortex. So this is the difference in the pathway of the spinothalamic and dorsal column tracts. In the spinothalamic tracts, we have seen that the first order neurons, they relayed in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, but in the dorsal column tracts, the first order neurons fibers, they will relay in the medulla. Now, if we look closely about the pathway of these tracts in the medulla, here we can see the nucleus dorsalis and the nucleus cuneatus, and the axons of these nucleus dorsalis and the nucleus cuneatus, they are crossing over to the opposite side, and these crossing fibers, they are named as the sensory decussation of the medulla. So the fibers, second order neuron fibers which cross to opposite side, they will form a sensory decussation in the medulla, and these crossed fibers, they will now ascend as medial lemniscus towards the thalamus. So the ascending second order neuron fibers, they are named as the medial lemniscus. So this is about the pathway of the dorsal column tracts, which is starting as first order neurons, which are reaching up to the nucleus dorsalis and nucleus cuneatus of medulla. And from here we can see in the first diagram, the second order neurons, they have started. And we can also see in this diagram, the second order neuron fibers, which are from the nucleus dorsalis, they are crossing and they are located anteriorly as compared to the second order fibers from the nucleus cuneatus. This means that the lower part of the body, it is represented anteriorly in the medulla, while the upper part of the body, it is represented posteriorly. So this is about the dorsal column tracts. Now we will study about the various sensory impulses which are carried by the posterior column tracts in the spinal cord, and they will carry these sensations to the cerebral cortex. The first sensory impulse carried by these tracts, it is the fine touch. By the word fine touch, we mean that a person can accurately, pinpointly localize the area on the skin touched. And we can test this fine touch with the help of a monofilament. And this is different from the crude touch which we have tested with the help of a cotton wool, and that sensation it is carried by the anterior spinothalamic tract. This first sensation, so it is the fine touch. Tactile localization is the second sense which is carried by the posterior column tracts. By the word tactile localization, we means the person can accurately localize or can accurately tell the part of the body which is touched, and we will always keep the eyes of the person closed while testing this sensation. The third sensation, it is the 2-point discrimination, where a person can accurately localize the 2 points on the skin touched simultaneously. So the three sensations, fine touch, tactile localization, and third is this 2-point discrimination. Now the fourth sense which is carried by these are the conscious proprioception. By this sense we mean that the person can accurately tell the part of the joint which is moved and also the direction in which this joint is moved. So this is the conscious proprioception, where a person knows about the movement of the joint, and this is different from the unconscious proprioception which is carried by the spinocerebellar tracts. So conscious proprioception. Next sensation, it is the sense of vibration. This can be tested in a person by touching a vibrating tuning fork to any joint of the body. So sense of vibration, conscious proprioception. And now the next sense, it is the stereognosis. By the stereognosis, we mean that the person is able to recognize the shape of the object by just by touching it. So with the eyes closed, we give a person either a circular, rectangular or a cubical object, and we ask the person to look to accurately localize, accurately tell the shape of the object. So he can just tell the shape of the object by touching it. So these are the various sensations which are carried by the posterior column tracts. So just revising them. So these are the first is the fine touch, in which a person can pinpointly localize the touch. Second is the 2-point discrimination, where a person can localize the 2 points touched on the skin simultaneously. Sense of vibration, where a vibrating tuning fork is placed on any joint of the body. Fourth is the proprioception, in which a person can tell the part or joint of the body moved. Tactile localization, in which he can tell exactly the part of the body touched. And stereognosis, in which the person can recognize the shape of the object just by touching it. So these are the various sensations which are carried by the posterior column tracts, and in these posterior column tracts, they are located in the posterior white column of the spinal cord. Now some applied anatomy related to these tracts are the posterior column tracts. They can be involved in a disease that is the tabes dorsalis, which is the third stage of syphilis infection, where the posterior columns may be involved, dorsal root or dorsal root ganglions, they can be involved. The second disease in which the posterior column are involved, that is the dietary deficiency of vitamin B12, where along with the posterior columns, the corticospinal tracts, they are also involved, and the patient will have the loss of discriminative touch sensation and loss of proprioception in these two diseases, tabes dorsalis and vitamin B12 deficiency. So this is about the posterior column tracts which are traveling in the posterior white column of the spinal cord, and they are carrying the sensations of conscious proprioception, fine touch, vibration, and stereognosis. The next tract which we are studying, they are located in the lateral white column, and these are the anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tracts. Both anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tract, they carry the sensory impulse of unconscious proprioception towards the cerebellum. And this information of unconscious proprioception, it is involved in coordination of movement of the limbs and also in maintenance of the posture. By the word unconscious proprioception, we means that as during the walking, we never know which joint has to be moved and how much amount it has to be moved and which muscle has to be flexed or extended. But at this time, our spinocerebellar tracts, they are continuously carrying the information from the muscle spindles and the joint receptors like Golgi tendon organs or pressure receptors, and they are carrying all these information to the cerebellum of the same side. And the cerebellum utilize this information to maintain a coordination of the movement of the limbs and also in maintenance of the posture. Now, this unconscious proprioceptive information is different from the conscious proprioception by the dorsal column. By the conscious proprioception, as we have studied, that the person very well know which joint has to be moved and which joint has been moved, and also the direction in which the joint has been moved. And but the spinocerebellar tracts, they are transmitting the unconscious proprioceptive information involved in the coordination of movement of the limbs and maintenance of the posture. Now we will study about the pathway of these tracts. Now some important facts about the pathway of these tracts are that both in the anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tracts, we have only two order neurons. There is a first order and a second order neuron. There is no third order neurons in these tracts. Moreover, this information of proprioception, it will not be carried to the thalamus. So thalamus will not be involved in these tracts, and these tracts, they are carrying the information to the cerebellum of the same side. So unconscious proprioceptive information will be carried from the same side of the body. The third important point is that the second order neurons of these tracts, they are lying in the Clarke's column of the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. And these Clarke's column, they are present only from the 8th cervical to the 3rd lumbar segment of the spinal cord. So above these level of the C8 segment, the information of unconscious proprioception, it will be carried by the different tract. So these are the some important facts of the spinocerebellar tract, and most important is that they will carry the information to the same side of the cerebellum, and there is no third order neuron involved in these tracts. Now first about the pathway of posterior spinocerebellar tract. The first order neurons of these tracts, they will be also located in the dorsal root ganglion of the spinal cord. The central processes of these dorsal root ganglia, it will travel towards the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, and here it will relay in the Clarke's column. Now the second order neurons in these pathway, they are the Clarke's column. Now the axons of the second order neuron will start from the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, as we see in this green color, and these axons, they will ascend as the posterior spinocerebellar tract, and these tracts, they will ascend on the same side of the spinal cord, and they will travel up to the inferior cerebellar peduncle, and they will reach up to the cerebellum of the same side. So the pathway of the posterior spinocerebellar tract, it has a first order neuron lying in the dorsal root ganglia. The second order neuron, it is lying in the Clarke's column in the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, and axons of the second order neuron, they ascend directly up to the cerebellum, and they ascend on the cerebellum of the same side. There is no third order neuron in these tracts. So this is an uncrossed type of the tract. Now about the anterior spinocerebellar tract. Pathway of the anterior spinocerebellar tract, it has also two order neurons, a first and the second order neurons. The first order neurons, they are located in the dorsal root ganglia of the spinal cord. Now we can see here the central processes of the unipolar neurons here in the red color, and these central processes from the first order neuron, they are traveling to the dorsal horn of the spinal cord, where they will relay in the Clarke's column, which is the second order neuron of these pathway. So from here, now the axons of the second order neurons, they will start. So first order neuron fibers, they have relayed in the Clarke's column, and now the axons, they will start from the second order neuron of the Clarke's column. But these second order neurons in the anterior spinocerebellar tract, they cross over to the opposite side. As we see in this green color, the fibers, they have crossed over to opposite side, and they will now travel in the spinal cord as the anterior spinocerebellar tract. They are traveling in the anterior white column of the spinal cord. So these second order neurons, after crossing, they are traveling as the anterior spinocerebellar tract, and they will ascend up to the midbrain. And now these fibers, they will travel in the superior cerebellar peduncle. So these second order neurons, still they will not relay here in the cerebellum, but they will cross over to the opposite side in the superior cerebellar peduncle, and ultimately they will also reach to the cerebellum of the same side. So in the anterior spinocerebellar tract, the second order neurons, they will cross twice, as we see in this diagram. First crossing will occur in the spinal cord itself, and the second crossing will occur in the superior cerebellar peduncle. So these second order neurons, they will ultimately reach up to the cerebellum of the same side. So pathway of anterior spinocerebellar tract, it has two order neurons, a first order neuron which is traveling, the central process of first order neuron traveling to the Clarke's column of the dorsal horn, from where the axons of the second order neurons, they start, they cross over to opposite side, they travel up to the midbrain, and then they enter the superior cerebellar peduncle, and now again they cross here to the opposite side, and they now reach to the cerebellum of the same side. So both the spinocerebellar tract, they are conveying the sensory information to the same side of the cerebellum. The difference in the pathway is that in the posterior spinocerebellar tract, we have seen that that was completely an uncrossed type of the tract, as we have seen this posterior spinocerebellar tract. But in the anterior spinocerebellar tract, the fibers, they will cross twice, but they will also reach up to the cerebellum of same side. Now, difference in the function of both the anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tract is that the dorsal spinocerebellar tract, it is used in the fine coordination of individual limb muscles, while the ventral spinocerebellar tract, it will be involved in the coordinated movement of the entire limb. So this will be the difference in the sensory impulses carried by the two tracts. Now, as we have seen that the Clarke's column of the nucleus, it is present only up to the C8 segment of the spinal cord. So unconscious proprioceptive information above these segments of the spinal cord, now it will be carried by the cuneo-cerebellar tracts. And pathway of these tracts are that first order neurons above the C8 segment of the spinal cord. Now we can see here the first order neurons in red color, and these first order neurons, they will not relay in the spinal cord in C1 to C segment, but these first order neurons, they will travel in this fasciculus cuneatus, and they will travel up to the medulla, and here the first order neurons, they will relay in the accessory cuneate nucleus of the medulla. So first order neuron, instead of relaying in the spinal cord, they are directly, the central processes of these first order neurons, they will not relay in the spinal cord, but they will travel directly up to the accessory cuneate nucleus, where they will relay. And now second order neuron axons will start from this accessory cuneate nucleus of the medulla, and this will travel as the cuneo-cerebellar tract to the cerebellum of the same side. So this tract is the equivalent of the posterior spinocerebellar tract, but this will be present, this will carry the unconscious proprioceptive informations above the C8 segment of the spinal cord. As the Clarke's column, it is present only up to C8 segment. And first or axons of the first order neurons in these tract, they will relay in the accessory cuneate nucleus of the medulla. And from here, the second order neurons, they will start as cuneo-cerebellar tracts. So this is about the pathway of the anterior and the posterior spinocerebellar and the cuneo-cerebellar tracts, which is carrying the unconscious proprioceptive information. So we have studied the three major ascending pathways. In the posterior white column, we had the fasciculus dorsalis and fasciculus cuneatus for fine touch, vibration, and stereognosis sensation. In the anterolateral column, we have the lateral and anterior spinothalamic tract for pain, temperature, crude touch, and pressure sense. And in the lateral column, we have anterior and posterior spinocerebellar tracts and the cuneo-cerebellar tracts for unconscious proprioceptive information. So this is about the ascending columns of the or the ascending tracts of the spinal cord.